Can you file bankruptcy if you are unemployed? Hi, I'm Jonathan Ginsberg. I'm a personal bankruptcy attorney here in the Atlanta area. And this is a question that does come up sometimes from potential clients that think they want to file bankruptcy even though they're not now working. Is that okay? Well, usually it's going to be okay, but here's a couple of things to be aware of. First of all, if you're unemployed, you can't file Chapter 13. Chapter 13 requires a regular source of income if you're unemployed, unless you've got some other source of income, regular family support, something like that. You're not going to be able to file Chapter 13. That leaves you to Chapter 7, leaves you with Chapter 7. And Chapter 7, of course, is a kind of bankruptcy where you wipe out debts. So in theory, if you have a bunch of credit card debt or other debts that you just want to walk away from, you can file Chapter 7 if you're unemployed, be debt-free, and then hopefully if down the road you get another job, then you'll start out really fresh with no debt. The problems arise if you have a house where there's equity and you need to reaffirm the debt. Well, if you're unemployed, you don't have the money to reaffirm it, and we cannot get a reaffirmation agreement approved, most likely, if you have no source of income to fund that. If you have a lot of equity in your property, and a lot of equity might be $30,000, $40,000 of equity, then Chapter 7 is not a good choice because you can't. You would lose that. You have too much in terms of assets, of non-exempt assets. The trustee would grab that asset, your house, sell it, and you would be left without a house. So it's not going to serve a lot of purpose. If you had a lot of equity in your house, Chapter 13 is a better choice. So these are some of the reasons why Chapter 7 may not make the most sense. The other thing to be aware of is that if you file Chapter 7 while unemployed, but you have a job lined up and you know that in 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, you're starting a job, it would be bad faith to file Chapter 7 and declare you're unemployed, have no source of income when you know that in very few months you're going to have income. So you got to be careful about that. You don't want to perpetrate a fraud on the court. One of the questions in bankruptcy is, do you expect a material change in your circumstances? And if you do, you have to reveal that. And a final point would be, and this doesn't come up that often, but it does warrant a mention, and that is that when we do the means test analysis, we look back at the 6 months prior to the current month of filing. And if you were working and you were fully employed during that 6-month period or part of that 6-month period, your means test could get skewed and it could force you into a Chapter 13, which, again, if you're unemployed, you can't do. Now, there are ways around this, but it just gets things a little more complicated. It's more expensive if you have a means test problem for Chapter 7 and we're still trying to file a Chapter 7, even if your means test shows that you have disposable income. So big picture is, yes, you can file Chapter 7 if you're unemployed, but there's an analysis we need to do. It's something we need to look at carefully. That's something I would do with you prior to doing so. It's just not an automatic knee-jerk, yes, you can file. But again, assuming the circumstances warrant, it can be a very wise move to file Chapter 7 when you're unemployed and get rid of all your debt so that you can have that fresh start. But again, if you do it incorrectly, if you don't take into account some of these other considerations, it can backfire and not be such a good thing. So as is the case in a lot of things in law, it depends, but a good attorney, an experienced attorney, can really guide you and help you make the proper decision in such a circumstance. So I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up on YouTube and a like on Facebook, and follow us on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Be appreciative if you did that. If you have any questions or thoughts, comments, please let me know. And I do appreciate your attention. So again, I'm Jonathan Ginsberg, and I'll see you.